Whenever a feature is more than a single double-page spread, magazines tend to carry over the same background and same style onto the second one. However, I chose to change the style completely. The first thing being that I recreated the band's logo for the background of the double-page spread instead of having a text or an image. I prefer how this looks because it's unique to the band and their article. It wouldn't be used for anything else, which makes it stand out more. I also chose to go against the norm and not have any title for my double-page spread. This is because I had a line where I wanted my text to end, and when I wrote the article it fit perfectly above that, with no space for a title. I did briefly experiment with putting it in the middle or across the bottom, but then it interfered with the image or left no space for a pull quote, so I left it off and I actually really like how it looks. Similarly to the first double-page spread, I chose to put boxes behind the questions instead of changing the colour of the font. I also made half of them red and half of them blue, depending on the colour of the logo behind them. And I also chose to do that in order to keep the colour scheme going, since they are the colours most associated with the band the article is about, and also by having a colour scheme it gives the magazine a more professional image. The most prominent thing on the page, other than the logo, is the main image, and the image challenges normal conventions for the fact it is more risky than you would usually get. Rock magazines are quite known for being outlandish, but not mimicking to shoot someone. However, I went along with this pose because there's a full explanation for that, and a meaning behind it, which makes everything fall into place and make it a lot more acceptable. Even though I went against conventions in the first double-page spread, I chose to follow them regarding the pull quote by having no text box behind them. But I also developed the idea by not changing the colour the pull quote was in, simply changing the font and making it bigger. At the end of the article I also decided to have a phrase to end it off. Some articles will have a goodbye or some way of them signing off. Instead I decided to write "We're 21 Pilots and so are you," which is what they say at the end of a concert.
We're 21 Pilots and so are you.
So the fans of the band will recognise that, and it's a little inside thing for them. Along with sticking to the same colour scheme conventions and following the unwritten rules regarding the page numbers, I also followed the convention of text wrapping. I chose to use this specific image and I love how it looks when the text is wrapped around it. There is a 2/3mm gutter width between the image and the text in order to keep it looking clean and sharp like how it looks in other magazines. You can see these techniques in all of the magazines I researched and it's always an audience pleaser. An example of this is in the Gerard Way feature in Kerrang magazine. You can see the clear text wrapping. I chose to use the option of text wrapping instead of text columns because I think it looks a lot more professional and interesting.